Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. I know I am because I didn't have any classes today. I'm not sure if you did, but you look like you're doing great.
I did have some classes, but I am doing great. Having some fun reading the patch notes, kind of figuring out what Riot did to their game this time. Lots of changes, but nothing too bad. They didn't hit the champions I play, so it's fine.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to be having fun with you tonight, enjoying the action that the League team is going to be bringing. And I am Daniil, also known as Better McGee, joined by the one and only. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Gabriel, a.k.a. Blockbeat.
There we go. And we have our League of Legends team. They are highly esteemed. They are one of the best League teams out there, and they've had quite the record throughout their entire seasons, throughout their career. And today is just another day of business for them. They are playing against Bethany Lutheran College, and I think that this team is hopefully going to bring us a fantastic matchup. But one fun detail I found out just a little bit ago is the entirety of the League team is sick and probably has COVID. So majority of them are playing from home. The rest of them on campus, on the stage, going to be playing probably a mix of some on the stage, some playing from home. But still, hopefully, those congested noses and headaches and coughs and sneezes don't affect their gameplay too much. Imagine you like hovering flash.
You're about to cough.
And you flash. It just plays like that. That's reality.
Question mark ping.
You know, that's reality. That's the game we play.
Yeah, it happens.
So hopefully nothing like that happens. But if it does, I hope we can definitely at least capture it on moments and get a nice clip. Cement that in history forever. But Gabriel, I'm gonna let you do what you do best. Okay, tell me about. You said there was a patch recently. That's nothing small when it comes to a game like this.
So as we know, we're kind of in a tank meta right now. There's a lot of running around with bigger, tankier champions. So because of mid or post world patch, right? They changed everything, and stuff's a little bit cheaper, but tanks are very healthy, but less damage. But they're tanks, so they do percent health anyways, so that's why they're so strong.
Okay.
So one of the main priorities right now is on any ADC that has percent max health damage. So we're looking at Kaisas, we're looking at Kog'Maws, stuff that melts tanks, right?
Okay.
Top lane, of course. I say it's a tank meta, but it's your standard heavy bruisers, your Gnar, your Gragas, your, you can fit the Darius in, but usually it's more like Jax. Your staples of the top lane that you always see are going to be showing up again. Looking at mid lane, you're still looking at mages, control mages. Corki got a massive buff to his scaling, though. Now has significantly more true damage on his passive. His rockets just got a base AD growth increase. Valkyrie too. They just said, all of your damage up. That's it. So we might be seeing some really, really good Corkis coming out, or at least high damage Corkis. But his early game is still not the best.
One thing I kind of always notice when it comes to patch days, I kind of noticed it with the Overwatch match we had just a while ago as well. I love theorizing and coming up with ideas of what teams might do, what they might change up, but then things usually just stay the exact same. I'm wondering if that ends up being the case for our teams. We kind of have an idea what their usual draft looks like. Do you know why they might have any reason to stick with what they know so far?
Depends on what our boys are up to in terms of their comps, but usually based on what they play standard, they're kind of still in the meta. I mean, the Darius is pretty strong.
Yeah,
and Ricky likes spamming the Darius. Because, I mean, Darius is just a checker, right? If you don't know how to go up against Darius, you're going to lose. Now, these guys do know how to go up against Darius, but they're still going to get checked because it's Ricky.
True, yeah.
But all of your, like, in the mid lane, we have pretty strong mages, right? We play the control mages. The Syndra comes out. The Orianna comes out. The Nico can come out. Oh, yeah. Please prop hunt. Please prop hunt. I love Nico. It's so funny because you just have a minion, and you're looking at the minion, and you're like, okay, there's a 90% chance that this is a Nico. Do I use my ultimate and look stupid, or do I take the risk and maybe die? It's like,
I'll say it's definitely not fun to observe. I've had to observe.
Oh yeah, observing. I think they updated that actually. Now you can see which one's the clone, and you can see there's a little health bar over Nico. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure.
At least they're doing some things. But hopefully, whether or not they have the Nico pick, hopefully our opponents, Bethany Lutheran College, will have some kind of strategies to deal with the offense that the Saints are going to be laying forward. You're mentioning the comps that they'd like to have. Pretty offensive, especially when it comes to the mid lane. Like you mentioned, they have the Syndra, they have the Nico. They have the Oriana you mentioned as well, and these are kind of the snowball champions that allow you to kind of steamroll games. But I feel like with your mentioning the tank meta, is there a way that we could probably see some like flexibility when it comes to the mid pick, or do you think they're going to stick with that?
I could see a Silas coming through, right? Silas, really situational most of the time, but since items have more health now, you can see because his scaling, his heal scales off of max health now, right? So, or wait, it's his healing and another ability. I don't remember which one, but he scales off of max health now. So you're going to see him, building the Riftmaker and stuff like that a lot more. But you do end up having higher health on Silas, which means he deals more damage because, max health scaling, plus he heals more. So you could see him mainly if, the Saints pick up an Alistar or an Aatrox. Aatrox, not the best right now, but it's because actually, he could work.
I feel like Aatrox always can work. I think that's just kind of inherent in his design.
Yeah, it's because they changed his passive, right? Now his E scales off of max health. Well, the passive of his E scales off of max health. So what happens is you're going to have an Aatrox that needs to build bruiser items if he wants to have that increased healing, and his ult doesn't give him flat. Now I think it like doubles his healing of his passive or something like that. So if you don't build health, your healing doesn't increase as much.
Gotcha.
Right. So if you want to see like an Aatrox, you're going to need to build like your standard Black Cleaver, your Sundered Sky, stuff like that actually have health so that he can heal.
Okay.
So it really depends.
Yeah, and fair enough. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we kind of brainstormed here, hopefully you didn't get too wet from the rain, but hopefully soon we'll have a nice, intense game coming up for you guys. And once again, this is going to be Bethany Lutheran College versus St. Clair Saints, and these teams... Clash of the Titans, I'm wondering what we're going to see, whether it's more of the same old comps or something new thanks to the new patches. We're going to find out as soon as this game gets started, but don't go anywhere. Hopefully, we'll be back very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you're as excited as we are for this draft to get underway. This is my favorite part of any strategy game. It's the pre-game, the thought process that goes into the micro decision-making processes, the second to second, the microsecond, the millisecond. All of these things can have lasting butterfly and ripple effects, and it all starts here. Isn't that right, Gabriel?
Yes, indeed it does. And here, as we can see in the draft, first ban is the Skarner. Skarner is a terrifying champion, pretty much in any team fight. 3-man suppress, and you can move around with it. Definitely ruins team fights for you. The Aurora being banned out next by the Saints is very, very effective. Aurora is a terrifying champion to go up against. You don't even know she exists because she's new. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Fair enough. That's how Riot works. They make the newest guy the most strong, and then boom, you know, they have to nerf it into the ground.
Well, yeah, but this one they designed the kit so that it was strong independently of what they do. So yeah, Aurora can basically make her ult is a big AoE. Okay. And if you try to walk out, it launches you back in. So you can't walk out unless you flash. You have to flash though. And if she runs into the wall, guess what happens to her?
She launches back into the center?
She goes to the other side.
Huh?
Yeah, so if you go, and it's like a 180. So you just go boop, boop. It's really
like
annoying.
A portal. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, you like it until you play against it. Alrighty.
Wait, she's a witch. I like cute witches. I'm a fan of this hero already.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So the LeBlanc coming out and the Braum coming out are interesting bans here. The LeBlanc I'm not too surprised about. It is a heavily played champion right now. She's relatively strong just to get those mages out really early and stopping them from snowballing or getting to that point where they're strong enough, ending games quickly. Braum is an interesting ban. Usually you don't see it banned first. So I don't know why that one came out, but hey, maybe they just don't like Braum. And the Ashe coming out from the Saints is honestly fair enough. Ashe is just really annoying to play against, mainly in this current meta. Yone being the first pick.
I just had an epiphany, or maybe this is just my bias because this hero's on the screen right now. Wouldn't Cassiopeia just super fit this meta right now?
Cassiopeia is decent. Lack of...
She's kind of like an anti-tank mage, though, no?
Well, I mean, okay, she's more like an ADC as a mage. But most of her percent max health damage comes from Leandri's, right? Because she doesn't have base max health damage. It's flat damage on her. No, she doesn't. There's no max health damage.
Because she's a snake, and that's how every snake character works in every game. But we're seeing Syndra and potentially Volibear being the retaliatory picks coming up from St. Clair. Syndra, we mentioned it's a powerhouse pick just in the Saints' hands in general, and of course in this meta, it's also fairly decent just for, like we mentioned, that burst and that potential max HP damage.
Yeah, I mean, the max HP damage is nice, and just clearing out team fights, right? You spreads everything out. Nobody gets to move. It's great. Volibear, a classic for Maddie. You know, he plays it all the time. Gets some good picks on it. It's always nice to see. Very effective in team fights too. So, gonna be interesting how he plays that one. Here, we can kind of see where the Saints draft is going. We already have a bruiser, we already have a mage, right? So now they're going to need to pick their top, and they're going to need to pick their bot and support. So here they're kind of showing their hand already in the solo lanes and in the jungle. So here the Jarvan is going to be the counter pick to the Volibear. Honestly, they're kind of mid. They play into each other relatively okay. I think Jarvan here is just something that I saw their jungler spams right now. So it might be the reason that it is being played right now. If you're, a one trick, or if you just mostly one trick, one champion, it's a nice pick. The Ziggs coming out too. Might be in the bot lane too.
Really?
Oh yeah, Ziggs bot lane is a thing. ADCs hate this one simple trick.
Okay. So is he support or?
Oh no, he's ADC.
Interesting. Okay, very interesting. This game's changed a lot since I last actively followed it. I believe the last champion release was Zaya and Rakan, and that was kind of when they jumped the shark for me. So I was like,
yeah, okay. You're a fossil right now.
Yeah. So I mean, still, obviously, watching the Saints play, I've learned a lot through osmosis, and seeing Ziggs in this lane is definitely a surprise to me if that does go that way. Leona being opening band is definitely not a surprise if the Saints go that way, which they are. Just such a strong utility-based support, able to just do basically everything.
We go in level 2.
Yeah, it's if your team lacks the things that Leona can provide, you're never going to be upset with seeing her. If your team lacks a stun, you're not going to be happy to see Lulu on your team. Okay, she has a stun, but it's not good enough.
Technically, she has a stun.
She has a stun, but it's not good enough.
It doesn't even stun.
But
they can still move.
Still, but I feel like Leona offers those things that your team's kind of lacking, strong enough that it's okay that you're lacking it. Whereas something like Lulu, it's like not enough.
I mean, even enchanters in this meta are just huffing copium right now. Enchanters don't exist.
I just said Lulu because she's like the first one that comes up. She's my favorite support to play besides Thresh, but still.
I mean, mine is Sona, but yeah, I'm huffing
copium. My man.
Enchanter mains.
We're getting the Camille band potentially coming. I remember that one. That was a really interesting champion release too. I kind of forgot what she does, but she's cool. She's got the scissor legs and stuff.
Yeah, she's like another Fiora, except she doesn't do percent max health. She just does flat. So another ADCs hate this one simple trick to remove them from the game.
We're seeing the respect bands potentially coming up for the Olaf. If you are suspecting Ricky ticking that up, it would be pretty devastating. But I feel like the core, the baseline that the Saints have built right now in their draft is really solid. I think they could take this, the last 2 picks in any real direction without it being too spooky. So I think, with these last picks, they could really lean more into like a funnel comp or more widespread on the eco side of things. But whether they're going to go for either of those, we're going to have to wait and see. I just think that they have a lot of options still open to them.
Yeah, most definitely. And here we're seeing the Rakan maybe being picked out with the Ezreal. That's a lot of mobility in the bot lane. Really hard to lock down, which is really good to pick into that J4 because J4 is kind of known for, locking down those ADCs, those supports or whatever, finding a pick and locking it down. So J4 into an Ezreal Rakan is not going to be fun to play. And here, it's going to be interesting to see what they pick as a support. I could see like an Alistar being picked up here, just as a strong front line, finding that engage before J4 goes in, right? Trying to get, that Ezreal E out or even Rakan ult, just as a panic, something like that. But then all of this is actually going to be picked up here. A hook champion is always welcome, but honestly, I don't see what Nautilus can hook here, right? Nautilus can go and try and hit the Ezreal, but let's be honest, by the time that hook is flying, Ezreal's already Eing out or flashing if necessary.
I think they're probably not thinking about it necessarily in the short term. It's probably a long-term Nautilus play. Definitely for the ultimate, and even being able to start a team fight off of a pick-off on somebody like Syndra. If you're able to get something started like that, if they're going for an objective, you force the Syndra out of position, and she's just going to kind of melt. She doesn't have the same luxury as Ezreal, but in the bottom lane, it is going to be a little rough.
Yeah, the only downside to getting hooked as Syndra, though, is if you bring Syndra into your entire team and she already has a ball there, you're just stunning your entire team, basically, right? So it's a precarious situation. But the Jax going to be picked up in the top lane, and of course, standard Gragas pick into the Jax. We love to see it. Might see the KDA Gragas skin coming out, which yes is a thing now.
I did not know that was a thing, but still, with these drafts being kind of rounded off here, I think that we have a really solid game on our hands. I think the kind of tank meta you were outlining at the start of the day, I'm not exactly seeing that like strong tank presence, but more like bruisery, consistent DPS. Could you point out exactly like what you're seeing these drafts are trying to accomplish?
Okay, so both sides have a relatively the same idea of taking it front to back, right? There aren't a lot of back-to-front comps with Assassins nowadays because Assassins are... they're with the Enchanter supports. They're huffing copium right now.
Gotcha.
A lot of it, too. But, so when we're looking at, for example, the ADC, the Ezreal is kind of one of those early game picks, standard like Jhin.
Consistent DPS.
Yeah, exactly.
Able to like kind of take care of himself, doesn't always need someone there to help him get out of dangerous situations.
Yeah, and having an Ezreal is nice because that means you don't have an ADC you need to babysit.
Exactly.
But on the flip side, it also means you don't have an ADC that has, percent max health damage like a Kog'Maw or Kai'Sa. So you kind of have to balance that out with more damage, and that's where something like the Gragas comes in. That's where something like the Syndra comes in, right? Where they can support with that damage need in those team fights, right? Gragas is probably going to be really strong right now because, first of all, it's passive, which makes him reasonably immortal
Okay.
with his damage mitigation too.
Yeah.
Is based off of max health, right? So he builds max health.
He's got a nice disrupt.
Yeah,
as well.
he's like Silas except tankier and with better ult. Well, I mean, better ult than Silas depends on the enemy team, but I don't know, more fun. I don't. Have you ever played Silas? Silas isn't fun to play.
Rubik.
At least not for me.
Well, fun is subjective, ladies and gentlemen. What is
True.
objective is these teams need to get settled in before their match gets started, and we have a little bit of a wait ahead of us, but that wait is going to be well worth it. If you stick through to get to this game start, you'll find out exactly that I'm telling the truth. So don't you go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after a break. We hope to see you guys very soon. Welcome back. We are here for the start of the game. Bethany Lutheran College versus St. Clair College. A battle of the colleges. A battle of the Summoners here on the Summoners Rift. And we are finally going to allow things to get underway in this game one. Gabriel, how are you feeling just looking at the way things are already?
I mean, looking at things, it's not too bad. Both team compositions are relatively decent. Looking at the runes here, we've got Jax and Gragas both matching each other with that Grasp of the Undying. Pretty standard. Although Gragas is going to get a little bit more use out of it than the Jax is, just because Jax is probably not going to get the opportunity to proc it since Gragas can just belly slam. Here, Conqueror on the J4, PTA on the Volley Bear, press the attack. Kind of a surprising build, but we'll see how it works out. Yone going for the Flay footwork because, I mean, he can build whatever he wants. It's Yone. He's Riot's privileged little boy. Syndra going for the Summonary to get a little bit more poke. Pretty standard. Conqueror on the Ezreal makes sense. You know, you want that extra damage. Healing's nice. He doesn't build lethal tempo anyways, so might as well. And PTA, you kind of want to have a little bit more uptime than just PTA, so Conqueror is pretty nice. Here, the Ziggs is pretty standard. Comet, build, full AP, you know. He's going to be there in the late game, don't worry about it. Nautilus going for that Aftershock makes sense. Speaking of, we're going to see it proc right here. Deals a good amount of damage to Miracle, actually. That's surprising. And, of course, Miracle here running the Guardian. So, pretty standard runes there.
Just looking at how things are already, we can see the peel effect in the bottom lane. They're just having a great time chewing on this Nautilus. Middle lane as well, Flocon doing some decent damage to this Yone. It seems like the Saints are just winning their trades already, and these are kind of the micro plays that can really make macro irrelevant, especially in the early game. So whether or not these are favored lanes for them, which honestly I think they are, the Saints are really having a great time just really forcing the enemy side back, and that gives them open ways to just farm their lane and get really the most out of this laning phase. You can already see Maddie and the opposing Amazing X on the Jarvan making their way from top to bottom, and I think that's when things are really going to start opening up. Once we have Maddie making those rotations, I think we're going to see this game really start to flip on its head.
Yeah, definitely. Once the first jungle clear finishes up, we're going to see the first ganks come out here. You can see Ezreal kind of not too scared of pushing in lane, just solely due to the fact that he has an easy get out of jail free card on his kit. It just allows him to survive those ganks really easily, so he doesn't really need to bother with that J4. The threat is there, but it's not overly present. And wow, holy smokes, big trade coming down the bot lane here.
Yep, and there's that airborne play coming through. It's going to allow League to survive with a little bit more damage than otherwise would, just disrupting the DPS some more. We see Maddie making his way down, and little do they know, there's a Volley Bear very nearby, but now they do, and they're going to be able to play with that in mind. Maddie not going to get too much value, but he's at least going to show his presence and force Bethany Lutheran College to respect that. League is going to just go back to farming nice and comfortably, not going to get too big for his versus. We're going to already see a nice mid play come through to get a little bit of extra damage off on Flocon. Now we're seeing bottom, they're getting close again, but even closer, junglers are getting a little bit of a skirmish into mid lane, but now we're seeing an engagement Miracle going through, getting the knock up, forcing back. He's going to get ignited, maybe not going to survive the night here. He's going to be fine for now. That thunderclap coming down, but he's going to get the flash. Yume, Dog 2, they're both so low, but for now, they're surviving their night here in the bottom lane. Almost going down. League, he's throwing it all away, but he's going to get first blooded. Now Miracle and Maddie, they're fighting to at least get their get back, get revenge on Amazing X. Miracle looking to get this through with the flash again. Yune baiting them with that shield twice in a row. Baiting 2 flashes and getting the life of the ADC in the bottom lane. I wonder who made that call. Whoever did. They must be feeling a little bit of regret. But hindsight is 2020. I thought he was going to get that kill, so I bet he thought he was going to get that kill at the very least.
Ziggs did get his recall canceled there, though.
Ooh, huge.
Yeah, Miracle showed up, and he was like, no, I'm leaving. So that's going to be some CS that he misses there. But all around, good play here as we see Gank coming out in the mid lane, that Yone is not having a good time whatsoever. Syndra getting a lot of punish is nice. Here in the top lane, hold on, somebody's in trouble.
Here in the middle lane, Maddie's even more trouble. Going to go down on to the Jarvan, who is going to be having a great time. I am not Sama in the meantime, taking down the opposing Jax in the top lane. Things are looking to be even so far, even in the net worth, even in the kill score. 5 minutes in, Dragon is now just spawning up Flocon. This is where the game is going to start to kind of shift a little bit more. We mentioned the junglers kind of getting activated, but now we're going to see the mid laners getting their level 6s relatively soon, and whether or not they're going to try to make any big plays after that, we're going to have to wait and see. But right now, Maddie already near the Dragon Pit. I wonder if they're going to try to go for an early play here. What do you think, Abe?
Here, probably going to be a trade Dragon for Grubs. Looking at the team compositions, Bethany probably is looking for those Grubs, more importantly, just because Grubs give you true damage on every auto attack that you do on towers. So you can just shred towers a lot faster. They have the Ziggs, they have the Yone, they have the Jax. Those are all 3 characters that are known for shredding those towers, so they can play around with that very, very well and play side lanes very strongly. And then if you look at St. Clair, I mean, Dragon is just to their advantage. They have a decent amount of healing and whatnot, but just getting that soul is going to be a priority for them.
Huge knock-up coming up from Miracle. They're going to knock him back now, but they're going to be standing strong, buying the hook actually, bringing Miracle back into the midst of this chaos. They're going to miss that shot. League so close to finding that extra bit of damage. Miracle now running for his life. Going to dash up to Maddie, go back in for the airborne. Amazing X taking a lot of heat here, but Miracle going to be forced to retreat. If only had a little bit more health, I'm sure they would have felt more comfortable fighting that a bit longer, but you gotta retreat when the time comes, and it's necessary for him to do so now. Gonna get the recall on the Nautilus, and Jarvan's just gonna stay his time here, get those jungle creeps. Now, we're gonna see level 6 now, actually 7 for Flocon activated. I'm wondering when you think we're gonna see these mid laners start to become a factor elsewhere on the map.
So mid laners probably aren't going to roam too early, but we might see it if there is a fight either for the Grubs or for the Dragon. Here though, objectives are being very speaking of objectives, Syntra's about to turn into one.
Yeah, she's running for her life. Flocon running towards Maddie and Miracle instead of the tower, and that's going to be the right plays. Amazing X now running for his life. Demon Beast on the Yone, and Yune underneath him. They are starting to get activated. The orbs are flying, but not going to find the kill. We're seeing so many close calls in this game already. We're just 7 minutes in, and we've seen at least 4 nail biters in terms of almost getting those kills. Saints are going to opt to take the Void Grubs, probably for the reasons that you mentioned, except for the opposite. They know that Bethany Lutheran wants those Void Grubs, so they want to make sure they don't get them. And honestly, with that play going how it did, Jarvan already back in base and going to the top side, I don't think they're going to be able to trade Dragon for it. I'm pretty sure the Saints are going to be able to get it themselves.
Yeah, so Saints definitely have the macro.
Yeah, look at the map. They're kind of quartering it off.
They're quartering it off. Right now, the Saints are dominating. They have tempo. They have the everything they need to win this game. They just need to follow through with it, right? Because, I mean, it's a MOBA. MOBAs are tempo-based games. Once you have the tempo, as long as you don't lose it, you win. So here you're going to be seeing Volibear making his way down, sinking the Void Grubs into Dragon, and you can see it, right? We have the gold advantage, not by much, but this is the early game. A small gold margin is a lot, or gets translated into a bigger one later on the game goes. So here, it's only about a 5K or 500 gold lead, but you're going to see this gap get bigger and bigger and bigger as the game goes on here.
Now, most of it being on the Gragas, actually, on Sama. He has a huge gap lead against the Jax, and I believe we actually have League lower in the net worth, but we're seeing the ult get committed onto him, seeing if he can fight his ground here. Yume almost going down, the ult's gonna whiff, but the bomb coming through from Dog 2 is gonna find his mark, and he's gonna fall eventually. That Ignite doing a good amount of work, allowing Dog 2 to get the last hit he needed to kill off League. Maddie running down, the bear is unleashed, open the gates, my friend, charge him down, he's gonna whiff and actually almost escape the danger zone, but Miracle finding the knock up, and that's going to allow Maddie to feast, but Dog 2 desperately trying to get the kill before he goes down, not going to be able to find it. Now we're going to be seeing mid lane Flocon getting in a bit of heat here. Demon Beast absolutely chopping him up. Amazing X going to take him down, not going to be able to survive that one. They're constantly trading 1-for-1 all over the map, and hopefully one of these teams are going to turn this to an advantage eventually. We mentioned how the Saints are going to take that Dragon, but it's still standing strong. This could go either way now, if you ask me. Maddie's still in the area, low on mana, and he's not perfectly healthy. He probably has some gold to spend, but I don't know if they feel comfortable contesting this. But at least they have the grubs. They don't feel inclined. They don't feel like they have to take it, but they definitely want it.
Yeah, they definitely want the dragon. To be fair, though, Chemtech is one of the least prized dragons, right? I would much rather an Infernal, a Mountain, something that gives you good stats. Chemtech, two different types of technologies. Chemtech gives you heal and shield power, but once again, the healers are obsolete and don't exist in our Huff and Copium right now, so nobody cares about that. And it gives you tenacity, but it's so little that it doesn't really
We got some shields on the side of Saints coming from the Ezreal and the Rakan, but we're seeing Flocon in even more trouble this time. Jarvan using the all, he's gonna get a nice knockback. The stuns are gonna be decent, but unfortunately no follow-up from the Saints to allow Flocon to survive this. Seems like this Yone in full recovery mode, asking for help from the team, and it's working in full effect. Gonna see Maddie taking on Dragon now as his teammates are fighting and battling in the bottom lane. Mid tower under siege. Hopefully Maddie's gonna be able to finish off this Dragon before he gets some unexpected guests. So far, it's just gonna be his teammates helping him out to finish this off, and that's gonna be both early game objectives going inside of the Saints.
Yeah, so those objectives are really strong in the hands of the Saints. They're also a good gold injection. You can see it here.
Oh,
speaking of
finding a kill, opening up this bottom siege, and Maddie charging through. He seems to be carrying his team on his back right now. 3 kills to League's 2, and I believe they've both kind of facilitated each other's kills every time it's happened. Seeing some self-sustaining the top lane, again carrying most of that gold difference. One kill in the top side, solo kill.
Yes.
They've been completely kind of isolated this game, and it's going the Saints' favor. Flocon committing the flash to not be subject to even more torture. Gonna go for the silent or the ultimate. Once again, Demon Beast gonna initiate onto Flocon, but unfortunately for them, not gonna be able to find too much value, but they're at least gonna be able to find Maddie. League is finding his way into this fight already, but maybe a little too soon, as now he's gonna be forced to be on the backline, kiting Miracle, committing to this fight, getting a knock up. League is gonna be able to follow up, get the kill onto Demon Beast. The Voidgrubs are respawning, and the entirety of Bethany Lutheran is in this bush. I don't think the Saints recognize that, as now they are in a desperate retreat. Flocon running for his life after Miracle goes down, gonna die already. League almost finding the kill. We're seeing Sama come through, hopefully trying to find some form of vengeance for his team, but League got the ultimate on him, and now Jarvan underneath the tower fighting him down. League, do you have the dash? No, you don't. Sama fighting all of them all at once, but not gonna be able to take them all down, at least taking out Yume before he falls. Maddie coming back in for even more work. Respawns and comes back into the fight, and that's gonna be the fight going the way of Bethany Lutheran College for sure, but even that didn't completely wipe the gold advantage that the Saints kind of racked up from the early game.
No, I mean, it was a kill and kill back type of situation here. Now the gold is slightly Saints-sided. It's probably around 50 gold, so nothing significant. But the Saints have the tempo now, right? They lost it, and then they gained it back because Maddie had the time to come back. So that's going to be all 6 Void Grubs going to the Saints. So that means they have mini Void Grubs that are going to help them out, clear out those towers too. So that's extra minions under tower every time you hit it. Yeah, it's going to snowball pretty fast. Saints really, really strong right now. The Dragon is going to be coming up in 2 minutes 50, right? So they're probably going to sink it back into that once they clear up jungle. And this one's going to be an Ocean Drake, so something that you actually care about. Although here, it seems that Demon Beast is actually going to be opting for the top lane now, playing into that Gragas. He now has the damage that he can probably deal with the Gragas a lot better than Lumberjacks can.
Yeah, and I really want to see the Saints start putting pressure on this bottom tower. It opens up so much of the map and allows them to play a little bit more comfortably, allowing kind of the top laner to solo that dead lane and just really farm up, as well as put pressure on the middle and the objectives. Where we're seeing an engagement from Miracle come down, putting that pressure. Like I mentioned, we're seeing the Jax soloing this down. Ezreal all gonna miss yet again, but he's still in a lot of trouble. Flip side, on the top of the map, we're seeing Sama doing quite the similar things that the Jax is doing, but at this time Maddie's here to help him out a little bit. They're splitting off this fight. Maddie going to the tier 2. We're seeing Sama go to the tier 1, and now Bethany Lutheran have no choice but to go back as the Saints take this bottom tower. Like I mentioned, this is going to open up the map quite a bit for them. It's also a good, nice chunk of gold in their pockets. They're going to be comfortable with that. And middle lane, Flocon targeted once again. He's going to get the pushback, stunning out the Nautilus before much else could be done. But still, like I mentioned, hey, they deal with the predictions. This Indra kind of feeling the heat from this Nautilus and not liking the pressure that he's putting on so far.
Yeah, definitely. But here, the first objective, possibly, for Bethany Lutheran College is going to be the Rift Herald, trying to get that battering ram. Rift Herald has lost use, but you can now drive it like a car. So it lost damage, but at least now you got the whip, so it looks cool. That's about it.
And they're going to get that one. Bethany Lutheran College not going to go down 0 on the scoreboard of objectives this game. Saints definitely using their early game objectives to their advantage and kind of putting themselves in a position to be leading this kind of mid-game phase, post-laning phase, pre-mid-game, I like to think about it. And we're seeing already, Sama just kind of soloing things bottom with the Jacks. We're seeing the bottom side go top once again. It's a classic situation that these teams like to put on, and they're going to get the top tower once again. Saints opening up more of the map. We kind of expected Bethany Lutheran to be the ones kind of demolition squad. Of course, they have the Ziggs, something that you would hope that they'd be able to accomplish, but so far it's only the Saints able to deal out that pressure to the towers consistently. I think it's definitely in part to the composition that they have.
Yeah, and the Saints, I mean, props to Sama here. He has a lot of work in, right? Gragas is a champion that if you don't win, you win. In terms of laning phase, right? He has a really good late game and a really good mid game because he becomes immortal thanks to his passive, right? So what happens is you're gonna have a Gragas who won lane and is now going to be very, very strong in the mid game. And then Ezreal is just strong in general right now. So he's gonna have a really good transition from early to mid. And then, oh my god, aggressive teleport right there. Holy smokes.
Lethal. And I feel like the best kind of champions, or at least one of the really valuable ones, things that you'll always see kind of a presence in the meta, are those ones that, like you said, you don't need to win your lane. As long as you don't lose it, you're comfortable. And even if you do lose it, you still have strong recovery. But you're getting a wraparound. You need an amazing X coming from the back. The Saints forced into retreat mode. Maddie going to escape the worst of it with Miracle. And they're going to turn this around into the Jax. League is going to dash over the wall. Miracle and Maddie still fleeing for their lives. But now Flocon is here, and they're all lined up. Can you get the orb stunning too? And that's going to be the knockup follow-up. Maddie coming from behind, completely decimating this Jarvan. Jax going in, has to flash out after he made that huge mistake, recognizing he is in danger. League with a huge chunk of damage onto the Nautilus, surprising me at least. I didn't think he'd do that much. And that was an initiation gone wrong from Bethany Lutheran College. Don't get me wrong, they did everything right. The Saints just were that much stronger and that much more prepared for that situation, and they were coming out on top in the end there.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints, if you just look at the gold, have more damage, and it's placed on the right people, right? If you look at the Syndra has Luden's Companion. She's got her her Boots of Lucidity, and a Dark Seal, because why not? Ezreal has his Triforce, so that's a huge power spike for him, right? Those Qs with the Spell Blade proc just hurt so much. Lock it on the Rakan for some extra shielding just gives that advantage in a fight. And Maddie has his Divine Sunderer, so he's going to be healing a lot, right? So the fights in general are just a lot more Saints-sided because Luden's Companion on Ziggs, I mean, it's nice, yeah, but it doesn't do all that much. Syndra can just use it better. And Bork on Yone, as nice as it is, isn't going to add up to that much damage, right? And Yone kind of still needs that Bork to have effective percent max health damage, or else Maddie is never going to get shredded. Because the only other percent max health damage they really have is like Jack's Counter-Strike or Jarvan passive, which between you and me, it doesn't proc that much.
Not that much, but they're definitely going to be setting their sights on this tower now as Miracle finds his way into the backline, knocking up 2. Sama with the follow-up, a stunning dog 2 before he can even get out there. I think he committed the flash, he did, and he's still going to die. Unfortunate for Bethany Lutheran College, and now sights set to this middle tower once again, taking it down without much room for really any kind of resistance. Bottom side, we're seeing Flocon, the sole defender of this turret against the Rift Herald, and Yone, a Jarvan, kind of pincering, but they're both going to leave, recognize the situation is not very favorable for them. They need to clean up the rest of this map before they can start making pickoff plays. There's too much vision everywhere. The waves are all pushed in. You can't really move around the map comfortably on the side of Bethany Lutheran College, but even using the ultimate, not going to be able to find Flocon, just a little bit aware of the situation, and Amazing X not going to opt to commit. I feel like Flocon's now at the point where he's tanky enough that you can't just insta-kill him, and he's definitely still doing so much damage that you're going to be the one that dies if you try to go for a play like that, whereas a little bit ago, maybe maybe 5-6 minutes before, they probably would have made that play. It probably would have been favorable for them.
Yeah, most definitely, but right now, Saints are just insanely ahead. They have a 5K gold lead, give or take, or actually maybe that's 6K gold lead. And just in general, they have more items, they have tempo, right? They have objectives. So now, Bethany doesn't get to play, all right? They don't have anything to bargain with to then try and get some tempo. The Saints, if they play correctly, are just going to steamroll them. This is how League goes, right? Once you have a big advantage, you can turn that big advantage into a bigger advantage, and it just keeps on going from there. And we can see it here. I mean, look at this.
Huge team fight coming out from Saints. They take the tower, and an engagement kind of got started, but Bethany Lutheran, recognizing the game state that they're in, they opt to just leave here. Baron just spawning up now. Saints could even go for this play, and I feel like they'd feel pretty comfortable doing so. Jax is really low. They see Yone bottom. I wonder if this is going to be the choice that they're going to make. Flowcon is bottom, however, but looks like Sama, actually, oh no, he was flying across the minimap. I was wondering what's happening, but I think it's the Hex Gate that he used to make that little maneuver. Saints just kind of backing up, resetting, looking for whatever their next objective might be.
That next objective is going to be Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. We already saw that the Scuttle Crab being picked up, getting some vision down, which is interesting because the Saints probably should have gotten that a little bit earlier, but instead they wanted to kind of regroup and get ready for that drag. So they will not have that free vision that Scuttle gives. But the neat part is the Saints are ahead, so they can just kind of walk up.
Huge ult, forcing Dog into that corner, doing a lot of damage as well. We're seeing Fallout Maddie, not going to find that knockup, but still, actually, no, finding it now. And they're going to be able to use that to get the kill onto the Nautilus. Not going to have that stun utility in this fight or that tank. And now almost finding Miracle, but he's going to dash out of harm's way before too much could be done. Sama coming around the bottom side here, seeing Amazing X. I think he stole the red buff, just adding insult to injury, and now they're going to take his life. Flowcon doing a huge burst of damage with the ultimate. Sama taking all the damage for the Saints. Maddie initiating on the top side of that team fight. They're all knocked up. They're all stunned slow. CC, Heaven, and League looking for that kill into dash, but they're all going to get forced back just once more. Flowcon going to find the kills. He follows it up. Alt is going to whiff once again on League, unfortunately, but still, it's a zoning ult. Recognizing Bethany Lutheran College, they are in a dire straits game situation here. They can't take these head-on fights against the Saints. It just doesn't work. They are too tanky, they do too much damage, and that's just realistically what net worth and macro advantage gives you. You have all the extra farm. It's not just net worth, it's levels. The Saints are just out-leveling them in where it really matters. They're able to bully them around these team fights, do so much damage, but they don't want to let this Baron go down without a fight. Amazing X with the rest of the survivors of the massacre in the mid lane. They're making their presence known over on Baron. Amazing X getting distracted by Sama, and that's going to be allowing the Saints to get to the back line of Bethany Lutheran. The ult is finally connected on all three here, but Demon Beast fighting Flowcon in the middle of this team fight. He's eventually going to fall, as well as Maddie on the volley bear, but they're going to turn things around, at least be able to take down a couple more, but it seems like the Saints are losing their numbers. Sama, unfortunately, falling as well. It's just going to be League surviving, and he is going to be in a little bit of a wild goose chase. He has the task of not only escaping here, but making sure they don't get the Baron while his team's gone. Thankfully, it doesn't look like they're going to even consider it. Yeah, they want the Dragon. It's a lot less risky. It's something a little bit more manageable for them in this situation, but at the very least, League is going to get out alive, and now the kill score is once again even in this game.
Yeah, and League does have that shutdown that is, so he wants to keep it. It's 150 gold, but it's, you know,
it's money.
It's money, and we don't want to give it to him. But yeah, here, so Dragon has been taken, which means we're not getting an instant soul, which is very important to keep in mind. This one Dragon can help them get out of that snowball that Saints are in right now, right? They're only 3K gold, okay, 4-ish K gold in the lead, right? So it's not much compared to what they had before, so they can snowball this still, right? There's still the ability to snowball it, but Bethany Lutheran is coming back here, which is nice. They're gonna try and gain a little bit more tempo, but what Saints can do here is, if they get everybody up, they can just walk up to Baron and say, okay, either I take Baron or you come and contest, and we kill you in a team fight, right? So that's something that they can do.
Absolutely, and it looks to be that's the situation they're setting up exactly right now. And I feel like this is going to be the team fight that kind of decides the game. If the Saints are able to take Baron here and they're not going to lose 2 or 3 in the process, I think this could be the final nail in the coffin for Bethany Lutheran. And obviously, on the flip side, if Bethany Lutheran is able to not only stop Baron or maybe even get it themselves, I feel like they're going to be in a huge advantageous position to come back, because while the Saints are down, well, actually, spoke a little too soon maybe, because Miracle's going to find Amazing X in the bushes and no teammates are in sight. Flowcon absolutely decimating this Jarvan in the bushes, and a bit of a, I don't know what really, what was the deciding play there? I'm not sure what the accomplishment was looking for on the side of the Amazing X, but I'll call it how I see it. Looked like just a mistake to me, and he's going to lose his life for it. That's going to blow open Baron for St. Clair College. Now they don't have a smite to contest here. This is going to be really difficult for Bethany Lutheran to try to make the fight. You can see they don't really have any vision here. Obviously, they know where the Saints might be, but they don't know where they are, and that is everything when it comes to a team fight this big. But he's going to miss the ultimate. Flowcon getting out scot-free, and that's going to be hugely devastating. Demon Beast is going to go into a fight without the ultimate. You don't want that situation going down. Flowcon fight getting found. He's taking so much damage. He's going to fall eventually, but they're at least able to take down the Yone before long. Maddie also in a lot of trouble, but League's going to be able to do so much damage. Knock up coming up from Miracle. He's going to almost go down, but that's going to allow League to blow open the rest of this team fight. It's just a fight between the ADCs, and of course, especially with the Baron buff, quadra kill going the way of League, and someone wasn't even there for that fight, and it still went Saints' way. Yeah.
Don't mind him.
Oh my God. This is, again, so hey, this is a situation I kind of predicted. Bethany Lutheran were able to kind of put a damper on the Baron, since they're still able to get it, but they lost half their team for it. And it's not exactly what we're looking for, but they still got it. They still have the advantage, and at least League is going to be the one to be holding it.
Well, League and Sama. He wasn't there for the team fight, but
forgot.
You know, he was in the side lane. He was doing top lane activities. Top laners don't exist anyway, so you can ignore him. All right, all jokes aside though, so League is in a very good state right now with that quadra kill, 650 gold, 650? Yeah, 650 gold bounty on his head. So right now it's protect the president, and president is Ezreal. Yo, Ezreal for president?
I support him. Seems like he'd have good policies. Trinity Forces for all. I'm super down for that. As an Udyr player, I'm, you know, that is my one voter issue in this election, but as this game seems to be potentially coming to a close, as the Saints are getting closer and closer to Bethany Lutheran's Nexus. Hopefully, they're going to be able to put up a resistance here, as we see Maddie and Miracle stalking these jungles. Dog throwing out the bombs, going to hit Miracle head on, and it's not even going to feel like it mattered. When your ADC is doing that little and taking that much from just stray shots, that is a situation where you need to be worried. And I think they're going to be putting that pressure on now, as the Saints are just laying siege to this tower. Bethany Lutheran, they recognize they can't even try, they can't even pretend to put up a resistance here. They have to give it up. And this is their last stand here. Not even going to go for the megas. They're just going to sit behind their towers and hope for the Saints to make a mistake. Amazing X, seeing if he can try to section off Flowcon, but recognizing that the Saints are kind of stacking on top of him. League leading the charge, finding a huge chunk of damage onto the Jax, a huge chunk of damage onto the Amazing X's Jarvan. And just, if you do that long enough, everyone's going to be dead. So Bethany Lutheran, they have to make a play here. It has to be sometime soon. Has to be maybe right now, as the Saints take down one more tower, one away from an exposed Nexus that won't fight back. And we're going to see the initiation going on right now. I am not Sama getting started on, but that's not the person you want to follow up on. They're finding the backline. All three of them cornered into a box, but it's not going to be an advantageous situation for them. You're stuck in here with me, not the other way around. I am not Sama, League, Flowcon. They're all going to survive that initiation and completely wipe out Bethany Lutheran College. Maddie on the backline looking for more. TP coming in as well. This is going to be a nice wipe for the Saints. This is game one going their way, taking this in a very comfortable situation. I think this is a classic game of League. They played their lanes, won their lanes. They played the objectives, won the objectives. They played the team fights, won the team fights. Then they won the game. Yeah. Simple as that.
No, Saints played really well this game. Honestly, it was just a matter of Maddie getting started. He said, okay, guys, I'm going to talk to bot. So you guys are going to be covered. Worst case scenario, Jarvan probably going to want to come for a gank bot, because bot is a very important lane to gank, and nobody ganks top lane anyways. So he's probably pathing bot side. All right, cool. All right. Stuff happens. Saints are in the lead. All right, snowball it. Done. It was perfect game.
Yeah, perfect. There really isn't much to say. Like we said, they made the draft. Good draft. They played their draft
yes.
well. They won their lanes. They took the objectives as they came. Won Baron. Won the fight. Killed the guys. Game's over. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is game 1 in the books for us as we're getting ready for game 2. Any final thoughts on that draft, whether or not that worked, whether or not you think there's any room for improvement? We had some back and forth during the break about the draft, and I really think there's no easy way of saying it. I was right. I think the draft is just value all the way around. You don't really need to worry about the combos. It's just solid damage, solid CC, solid displacement.
Yeah,
and when you're playing a hero that you're comfortable with, very few things can really put a damper on you.
Yeah, except somebody else that is playing a hero they're comfortable with.
Fair enough. Hopefully, we can see a little bit of that in this next game. Bethany Lutheran College still fighting strong in this series, but don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, as we're getting ready for this next one. We'll be seeing you guys very soon. and gentlemen, welcome back. We had a fantastic game one. It was really interesting. A lot of give and take, back and forth. Ultimately, the Saints came out on top, leading the series now 1-0 in this best of three against Bethany Lutheran College. But game two about to get underway. Well, the draft is about to get underway, which is, again, most impressive to me.
Yep, and speaking of the draft, here it is. All right, Aurora band, pretty standard. Heimerdinger. Okay, Heimerdinger was in the last band. I kind of glanced over it, but Heimerdinger twice in a row. What is going on?
I mean, who likes playing against Heimerdinger?
Okay, true, but who plays Heimerdinger?
People who don't like you. People who want you to be upset, a.k.a. people who are your opponents.
Well, yeah, but Heimerdinger, I don't know. In standard play, maybe, but in team-based play, I don't think so. The Heimerdinger's turrets just get annihilated really quickly. The Yone being banned out, the Poppy being banned out, and the Syndra being banned out this time. Syndra being banned out is pretty interesting, means the Saints cannot use it. Saints, first pick the Rel instantly. Rel being first lock is really good. It doesn't really show your hand too much. Rel can go with pretty much any ADC you want and be super effective. Used to be a flex pick jungle, but no longer is, which is nice because Rel jungle was kind of busted. And here, they're kind of they're saying, okay, you know what? You're kind of not showing your hand. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick the Alistar. Here, we can see one of two things. Either we can see a jungle being picked, or we can just instantly see an ADC to pair up with that. With the support, could be a mid lane too to hide that top lane matchup. Not that it really matters too much, but yeah, here we're looking at a jungle pick. The Skarner being such an effective champion in team fights. 3-man suppress. He's got the stun, can't go through walls, 3-hit passive, the whole 9 yards. Did you see the reworked Skarner yet?
I mean, I've seen it in the games, but if you told me, back when I was playing League, that Skarner would be first pick in every game, I wouldn't believe you. And I still kind of don't believe it, but I've seen what he's capable of, and it seems pretty devastating. I understand why there's a hot pick right now. Viego looking to be the second pick coming up from the Saints, and I feel like they are kind of just indulging in a little bit more of a greedy kind of dominant composition, where the last one was a little bit more balanced out and allowed them to get a feel for their opponents. I feel like now, since they're probably confident, I think they're a little bit more experimental. In fact, maybe stealing out. Okay, never mind.
Show them how it's played.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't put it past the Saints, but seeing the Aphelios pick up.
Okay, so let's see if Lig has a PhD. I mean,
it's college. Maybe he's working his way towards one.
Maybe we could see it. I don't know. I love the Aphelios pick. Usually I prefer it comboed with like a Lulu or something, but enchanters are obsolete anyways, so I'm just gonna ignore that. Ooh, Kog'Maw here being selected. Kog'Maw is pretty strong right now, and it's a pick that they play a lot. Their ADC dog plays a lot of Kog'Maw, so I wouldn't be surprised if this Kog'Maw just shreds. But that means Saints can't really go for a tank, and they cannot let this go to late game. Because Aphelios can be decimating in team fights, but he's base damage, right? So not a lot of percent max health damage. He's going to hit hard, but he's not going to shred those tanks. And you already have Alistar, who's a really good tank, Skarner, who's a really good tank, and Kog'Maw, who, I mean, for some reason builds Titanic Hydra sometimes. So it's kind of a tank. It's going to be a tanky composition that St. Clair need to fight their way through.
And I feel like their last two picks are going to be very revealing as to how they want to go about doing so. Generally speaking, your picks kind of follow the standard. You pick this character, you're going to build this, you're going to buy that, you're going to play this way on the map. But I feel like with their current composition, they're a little bit specialized and specific. I feel like their last two picks are going to really pigeonhole them into a specific play style that they're going to have to commit to. Whereas the first draft was really general, and I feel like could have been played into any composition really. I feel like this last one, or this current one, and again, especially these last two picks, are really going to have to have one strong strategy in mind if they want to have any kind of success. And it's probably going to be funneling into this Viego and or Aphelios and really hoping that they can kind of lead them to victory. Maybe a strong jungler, allowing Maddie to kind of do what Maddie does best. Unless that Viego is the jungler.
Viego's the jungler here. Okay. Viego's 100% the jungler. But funnily enough, a Gwen ban coming out. That's interesting. Gwen got nerfed this patch, and it was her healing too, which, funnily enough, when her healing got nerfed last time to what it is now, she got absolutely decimated. So I'm interested to see why they banned that one. But here, the Tristana being picked up.
I like that pick.
Tristana mid, probably.
I think it makes this game so much more obnoxious.
It does.
On the side of the Saints.
It does. It's going to be so annoying for the Saints to deal with that Tristana.
Yeah. Wow. This is kind of brutal, honestly.
Yeah, this is gonna suck for the Saints. They're gonna be fighting through Kog'Maw damage plus Tristana damage in those team fights. But here, the Olaf being picked up, that's gonna be definitely an Olaf top. Honestly.
Okay.
Wait, no way they're playing Galio into Tristana mid. Okay, Vladimir's a little bit more reasonable.
I mean, I feel like their last pick has to really be like a final perfect puzzle piece, and I feel like this is kind of just like putting the picture of the puzzle like on the front over your messed up puzzle on the floor and say you did it.
Okay, look.
I think it's okay, but it's really like I feel like these last two are trying to patch up a big hole in a spaceship.
All right, so what you're looking at for the Saints, all right, is 4 gold-hungry champions and a support. And then on the other side, they're going up against 2
huge tanks,
3 huge tanks,
wow,
and 2 DPSs that are known for their excessive amount of damage
and flexibility. Like, you don't have to put your whole team composition in the hands of a Kog'Maw or Tristana. They kind of just scrap around and accomplish so much. Just the nature of their heroes.
Space gliding,
You know, it's just they just work that way. And I feel like with the Saints draft, it is very, like I said, specific, strategized and planned to have a lot of success in very specific ways that allow them to play in very specific ways. Like, I don't think we're going to see them picking up these objectives as much. I don't think we're going to see them rotating as much as we saw them before. They're not going to be able to just roam into the jungle or counter gank as freely as they did before. I feel like they're going to have a lot harder time, but it's feast or famine. I feel like if they have even a micro amount of success across all of their lanes, and it's not even just like what we said before with the Gragas, where if you don't lose, you win. I feel like they have to win.
It's the opposite of this.
They really
right
have
now,
to win.
if you were looking at the draft, right, when you have an Aphelios, you're like, okay, cool. We have super good scaling and a DPS that, well, I mean, PhD DPS. He's the only one. He's the only one you need a PhD for. And to be honest, when you have that PhD, it's because it's essentially a license to just do more damage. Okay. So Aphelios is so gold hungry, right? He needs those items, he needs those kills, he needs that CS. You want to have like 1 to 2 tanks bare minimum playing around him
we have
to keep him alive.
Who's going to be in a puddle for most of the fight.
Untargetable, so he can't tank damage. I mean, Vladimir does have tankiness to him, right? And don't get me wrong, Olaf is still a tanky bruiser, right?
Yeah, but he's not going to centralize a team fight around him. He's a distraction that has to be addressed, I feel like. But he's not going to set up for an Aphelios in that same way, like a Zac.
No. The problem is, Olaf, his whole like MO is forget everybody else, tunnel vision on the ADC, right? And Olaf's job right now, I'm telling you, every team fight, it's going to be Olaf ult, and then that Kog'Maw is going to die. Or going to try and
then
get away.
runs to our ADC.
Well, not really. Well, okay, yeah, when he dies. This is passive. But, yeah, okay, cool, Kog'Maw's dead. Assuming that he doesn't instantly die, right? Because, I mean, Olaf is strong, but he has to hit something. So if he doesn't get to there and he doesn't start healing...
Against a Galio, against a Zac.
Yeah,
or we have the Galio, right? It's against the Zac.
No, we don't have Galio.
Skarner.
No Galios.
Oh, yeah, we picked the Vladimir instead.
Yeah, Vlad instead. Which, honestly, I would have preferred the Galio.
The same.
But Galio doesn't go well in 2 ADs, right? He's a mage counter. So it's kind of weird. But, yeah, so 3 tanks... And, I mean, to be fair, they do have relatively good tank busting with Viego. Viego deals good max health damage. Vladimir deals good damage, eventually. Olaf is a good bruiser that deals good amounts of true damage and percent max health damage. So I can kind of see how it translates in. But I'll have to say, better draft. It's not the Saints this time.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I kind of realized that their draft doesn't need to be good. it has to be effective.
Yes.
I think this draft is very effective at winning. They just have to like actually do it. We're talking, and the way I look at drafts for these kinds of games in general is assuming both teams are even and assuming both teams are going to do the right things, when that's almost never the case, right?
No, it isn't.
There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be one team that's usually better than the other. There's going to be innovative things, surprises all the way around. And I feel like with that in mind, I feel like the Saints draft is going to allow them to play in a way that's really effective at winning. They just, again, have to actually find out how to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm not sure if you know how they're going to do it, but
they're going to figure it out.
They just have to figure it out and make sure that they come out on top. But we're going to figure out exactly how they're going to do that as soon as this game gets started, which we're going to go to a quick break for as they're finally getting to the game. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to deliver this mystery match and see how the Saints are going to hopefully bring this game to a close in their favor, or Bethany Lutheran College are going to at least get one on the board in this series. Stay tuned. We'll be finding out soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here in Game 2, Bethany Lutheran College versus St. Clair College. Saints had a fantastic Game 1, and now we're looking at this Game 2, and it's looking daunting. We kind of went back and forth. If you know anything about League, you'll look at the draft and tell exactly why we are hesitant to say one thing or the other about the Saints draft, because it's very volatile, and depending on how much, I'll just say, how much better they are than Bethany Lutheran College will determine how successful I think this draft will go. That's just my analysis of the
Saints
situation.
draft honestly looks like a solo queue draft.
Realistically.
Like, that's just straight up, yeah, this is my main, I play this. I'm not formatting to any team composition or anything like that. That's what Saints drafted. And then Bethany Luther, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. 2 ADCs, one deals adaptive damage, one deals physical damage. Perfect. Tanks everywhere. That's it. A bunch of tanks so that they stay alive. Perfect. All right, let's keep the 2 guys alive, and we win team fights. But I mean, I'm going to assume that's how it's going to translate. But if the Saints get a lead, I mean, it could just ruin that entire game plan completely. Oh, there goes Zach.
Sama already chasing down this Zach, trying to get some early damage, finding it in spades. But as we're starting things out now, Flocon with definitely the sustainability advantage in this mid lane, playing the Vladimir versus Tristana. I feel like that is probably going to be the lane that may have the most success, just based off of the compositions alone, just based off of what each champion sets out to accomplish. Tristana wants to deal damage, Vladimir wants to heal it. Simple as. And it's a lot easier to heal that damage than it is to deal the damage with the Tristana. Looking at the top side, we're already seeing some engagement, and of course in the bottom we're seeing some more trades coming out. We're seeing Tristana already at underneath half HP, Flocon healing his way back up to full. Yeah, just chilling, feeling comfortable. Maddie making his rotations, Thwack doing the same, and this game, it's slowly starting to get underway.
Yup, and we can kind of see, ooh, a little bit of an engage here in the bot lane. Alistar going for the headbutt. Not going to find anything though. But if you look at the runes for the Saints, it gives you like the entire MO. We've got Conquer, Conquer, and Conquer with Summon Airy and Aftershock weaved into it. Like, yeah, they want to conquer. That's what they want to do. That's it. Just conquer, win, period. And if you look at the runes for Bethany Luther, it's essentially the opposite. 2 Grasps of the Undying, Fleet Footwork for survivability, Aftershock, and oh yeah, you know what? We need damage. Let's get 1 lethal tempo. Just in case.
Sprinkling things here and there to hopefully have a nice, diverse plate of meals to dive into a feast. But the Saints, they really just, they're like me. You go to the buffet, you pick up a bunch of slices of pizza and hope that can feed you and your family, dog. Gonna be the next target of this feast. Almost going down, taking that ignite as well. Running for his life, both rooted. Maddie charging in, almost finding the kill. There it goes. The way of League, exactly he wanted to pick it up. And it comes the support Thwack, but honestly, not turning things around much for the better. League almost finds that kill, but it's going to be Maddie taking him down, and that's going to be a double kill for the Saints. Perfectly done. That's going to be complete wipe of the bottom side as well as jungler getting that.
Okay, I just realized what League started with. That's kind of disrespectful. Starts on one of the worst early game ADCs and starts with Cull. That's just, I mean, he wants to get to that late game quickly, but he's confident. Starting Cull is, I mean, it's not for everyone, okay? Cull is kind of like the Medjai's of, or like the Dark Seal of ADCs, right? You pick it first item, you're confident.
Yeah, we're
Zach
seeing
almost lost passive.
Zach, yeah, running for his life there. Almost going down to Sama with the axes. But like you were mentioning, the itemization kind of shows we kind of know a little bit of what we were talking about. I won't lie, a little bit. I was thinking, like, are we kind of talking about our butts right now? But it looks like with the itemization kind of affirming it, feels pretty comfortable that the Saints really do only have one game plan here, and that's just to get to a huge advantage over Bethany Lutheran fast, and that's going to have to come down to just like the little things, their micro, their macro, their overall just being better at the game. You don't have any time to play it safe or put respect on your opponents. You have to just steamroll them, and that's exactly what they have to do here if they want to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, look at like first item, BF sword. Like, that is just insane.
And it's kind of working. He was able to hold bottom by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, why build sustain if you're not going to take damage? He didn't take a single bit of damage there, and look, he's solo bottom now. The entirety of Bethany Lutheran College in the mid lane, and Flocon in the puddle. We were talking a little bit about the ineffectivity of that puddle, but it's definitely going to be very effective at keeping alive. Not so much his teammates, however, as Maddie fighting for his life here against the entirety of Bethany Lutheran, and they're not even going to be able to fight back. All of them kind of retreating here. It's just 2 versus 3 here, and they have their number as League is comfortably hitting this turret, getting the place. Like you said, that's just an extra 125. What? And now they're finally going to find their Quart. Miracle going to go down, but League here able to kind of section them off. But unfortunately, they're going to be able to find it. But even more unfortunately for Bethany Lutheran, they're going to be a little too much damage. Maddie with the assist of League slowly whittling them down one by one. Maddie finding the double kill, hopefully being able to take down Thwack as the final one remaining, turning into the big bull, doing so much damage, getting this last stun he needed, not going to be able to finish off the kill. He knows that. He recognizes that Alistair going to be able to be the lone survivor of this engagement. Or not Alistair, that's going to be Thwack. And 6 minutes in, Saints leading 5-3 with an 11k net worth difference. Looks like, Gabriel, we might not be here for long if things go this way.
Yeah, no, the Saints are here to win. That's all they will be doing this game, unless something changes, because holy smokes. Maddie has 4 kills with a 300 gold shutdown already because he felt like it. Okay, Flocon took 2 turret shots. We're going to ignore that. And then on top of that, you've got Lig with 1 kill and 4 assists because he feels like dealing damage today. And I mean, look at the damage.
So does Miracle. Amazing X and Lig are going to be doing a great job of slowly dismantling this Alistair. Thwack charging into Lig. Going to be running for his life now. Miracle also getting cornered off. He is most likely going to fall here, but not before Lig gets more damage onto the 2 stalwart warriors in the bottom lane. Going to be able to retreat and do so comfortably. Going to recall Flocon, going to be comfortable in mid as Maddie takes the Void Grubs. Saints are doing a great job of keeping this advantage, maintaining it, and firmly pressing the thumb of oppression on the head of Bethany Lutheran College as they are fighting for their way back into this game. Unfortunately, not going to be able to have much success finding it back, as this Zach is not being able to be much of a roadblock to this Olaf. And once again, I feel like Olaf is also kind of one of those, if you don't lose, you win. And Zach is going to not only not win this lane, but it seems with this solo kill, going to be handedly losing it so far against Sama. And that's just going to be an even more kind of insurmountable advantage for the Saints in this game. As Dragon spawned, we're seeing Thwack make his way bottom. Dog running for his life so low. Miracle almost has a kill, but League getting cornered off. Thwack gonna find League on the tower. Miracle still fighting to find the Cho'Gath, and League getting the double kill under the tower. To even split up these 2 in the bottom lane are inseparable, indomitable forces. 10-4 now. The Saints with their greed draft. It is working out perfectly for them.
I mean, the Saints are just allowed to be greedy here. That's kind of how it's working. Oh, no, hold on. That's going to be solo kill. Oh, he didn't have Q. Okay.
Oh my god. If he finds a way to get this kill, I'll be really,
Does he have flash? He doesn't have flash.
I'll be really shocked. Maybe, but it's not possible.
Maybe. Look at it.
Just one more. He's got his teammates with him too. Whether or not
they want it.
It's all going to come down to whether or not he has a puddle on cooldown, which he probably does, but not for much longer, I'd guess, based off the fact Miracle is now starting the rotation, coming in, making his presence known. Flocon gonna be stuck between a rock and a hard place and looking to swim his way out, getting out of this fight, forcing the Tristana back now. That's gonna be more farm in the hands of Flocon comfortably, as his opponent is no longer gonna be present in this lane, and all the while, States setting up for Dragon to be able to get that right after they get the Void Grubs to Maddie, as well as his teammates looking very comfortable. As reminder, League is still in this game, by the way, farming bottom very comfortably without much contest.
I mean, 70 to 60 CS, the 10 CS lead plus 4 kills.
Yeah.
200 gold bounty. He's already got his boots. He's got a crit cloak. That's going to be an IE rush if I've ever seen one. And once Felios gets Infinity Edge, you are not having a good time.
Not at all. And looking at how Bethany Lutheran are choosing to play against this match here, it's just They are going around the map looking for engagement. They're going to find one in the bottom side. League so low. That 200 gold bounty looking to get claimed as the Kog'Maw finds the kill. Shut down on League, but maybe turning things back on Maddie. Coming for a vengeance here. Turning into the Alistair, getting the knock-up and the bump. Forcing him back and the stun. Is he going to turn back? He is going to turn and get that kill now. Is the Skarner charging into the wall. Demon Beast so low. Finally finding Maddie. Miracle doesn't have the damage or the mobility to get that final kill. Bethany Lutheran still have some life left in them. It's not going to be completely free for the Saints, but guess what? Flocon now farming completely for free. You can't really do too much on the map without sacrificing something huge in the process, and this sacrifice is going to be in the middle lane, as now 100 CS on this Vladimir, getting the plates as well. This is so much gold just completely going to the pockets of the Saints. Look at that. Gabe, I hope you haven't looked at the net worth at the top yet.
God.
Yeah, there it is. Now I know he looked at it, because it is completely devastating. And Flocon in a bit of a difficulty, but if he can get that puddle, he'll be fine. Yeah, flash forward. Tristana finding her way in. Puddle's not going to pop in time, but so close to getting out of the situation, especially with Maddie here. He's going to find so much healing, and he's almost going to get Puddle is now on top of them. He's going to get pumped back, and in fact, that's going to help him, as he's going to be able to kite so effectively with his teammates laying on the hurt. Bethany Lutheran College getting completely destroyed in the middle lane. Flocon was like a butterfly dancing in the wind, completely uncatchable from Bethany Lutheran College. We're going to see back Zach in the bottom lane now, as Olaf has kind of completely bullied him out. And keep in mind, this isn't in rotation, really. Olaf is kind of sitting comfortably top. Kog'Maw, I'm assuming, was supposed to be in this lane, but can't really do anything now. Miracle waiting in the bushes for him to try to run away, and he might not even be necessary here, as Sama just kills him.
What did I do?
Just kills him.
Bro, what is going on?
He just killed him.
ADC walks up. Sorry. Very weak ADC walks up to Fed Olaf. How is that going to go 99% of the time? You just saw it.
And we're seeing even more havoc and carnage being wreaked here in the middle lane.
This is a bloodbath.
Quite literally, as we're seeing Flocon really shower everybody in that crimson red. Flocon now in trouble, getting initiated on by the Alistair, finally going to get him taken down. Huge bounty going the way of Bethany Lutheran College, but everything they accomplish on the map requires a full committal push. Meanwhile, Olaf farming completely free in the top side, taking the tower.
What is that CS lead?
Oh, jeez.
How is this legal?
Don't look at the net worth. Don't look at the net worth. Don't do it. How much do you think the Saints are up right now?
Okay,
what do you think the Saints are at?
Like the kills and stuff, probably about, I'd say, 13K.
All right, check.
I'm almost close. I'm almost there.
Brutal lead here. This amount of goal, the Saints had a good lead in the first game when they were up 3K.
Yeah.
Right? This is just devastating. And right now, Sama fighting for his life in the top lane, and I don't think it's going to be much of a fight. It's Thwack fighting for his life, truly, and this one's going to get completely thrown down. Meanwhile, Sama still fighting, still putting up a really strong fight, and in fact, turning things around, almost taking down Amazing X. Throwing the axe is almost getting the kill on the Zach.
Zach has passive.
Yeah, he would have come back regardless, but still would have been a statement nonetheless as League.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what he's doing? Farming mid. Guess what the rest of the team doing? Farming bottom. They had to commit everybody on top side, almost died for it, and just took down Olaf. Time is everything. Every second that goes by, your team's not farming. Everybody on the Saints are. Flocon 127, League with 129, Olaf with 144. He's the guy that just died. No one has even broken the 100 barrier on the side of Bethany Lutheran College yet. And this Saints already taking the bottom tower. I think the discussion that happened after game one, when like, okay guys, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? And Alonso's probably like, guys,
just go in.
The game took too long. Game took way too long. Like the only notes for game was game took too long. Game took too long. I was like, yeah, game took way too long. We gotta fix that. And here we are, 15 minutes into the game. Saints are already breaching the base, taking inhibitors, Dragon spawning, not going to be much of a factor if things continue this way. The initiation from the Zac is going to be really successful, and it's going to cause a lot of disruption, but a lot of chaos is ensuing the back line, and now the front line is non-existent for the side of Bethany Lutheran College, forced to retreat on the side of the ADC and mid laner Maddie, going to get Kog'Maw regardless. Miracle just going to go down to the Kamikaze Bomber on the side of the Kog'Maw, and wow. 15 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god, that burst. Did you see Tristana's health?
I did. It was gone. Completely gone. Flocon fighting to keep his teammate alive here, and I don't think he's gonna have to fight too hard.
Oh my god.
Sama fighting his own battles now. Gonna use the opportunity to retreat. Flocon kind of sectioned off. League taking the middle tower in the meantime.
Okay, maybe not.
Uh-oh, Kog'Maw gonna find the perfectly placed spiral to take him down. That's 2 inhibs. Well, 1 inhib, 2 towers, and 1 inhib severely damaged as the Saints are now leaving the base with a basically 16k net worth lead around there. I'm dying. I want to see what the goal differences are. Thank you very much, Dan. We're seeing 2k difference between the ADCs. Oh! Don't look at the mid lane. Don't look at the mid lane one.
Wait, what's the mid? Oh my god, no. I looked. Oh my god, double the gold.
Double on the junglers, more than double on the top side, more than double mid. 2k difference between the supports. Again, thankfully it's just 2k, but well, now 3k between the ADCs. And you know, when you're saying thankfully it's just 3k difference between the ADCs, you're in a really bad game.
That was the lead last game between the two teams.
Now it's just on. Yeah, again, I feel like I have the Oracle's insight. I can tell when a team is making a goofy draft. It's not because they're stupid. It's because they know they can win the game like this.
I mean, that is the epitome of the Saints draft. They just said, nah, we win, and just drafted whatever they felt like.
Game took too long. Game took too long. And there were no other notes. Not you need to rotate more, but in fact, I think maybe there's going to be a note here for Flocon as he goes down. Don't get caught. Game took too long. Don't get caught. Game took too long. That's going to be the notes after this one. Most likely. It's League now just completely devastating this tower.
Oh, shout out
to
the Rift Herald.
Don't even dare. They can't. He's got a team now here, and they're down. The guy that has a double net worth lead against their mid lane, and they can't even take this fight as they're initiating, finally taking down Maddie. Miracle being the next target for this fight. He's going to be doing so much, but League on the back line doing so much damage. By the way, they just killed 2 guys, and they're still running away from him. That's how you know they are in trouble. They're finally going to initiate now, getting comfortable. League finding the hit onto the Alistar, not going to find the kill. However, Olaf was opening up the base, took down the inhib, and now Saints finally lost some blood. Thankfully, they have a vampire on the team, though, that could be doing great work to regenerate it. This is probably going to be the last push for the Saints.
All right, so let's just have a brief overview of the items. So you have an Olaf with a Ravenous Hydra. But it's just a Ravenous Hydra, so it's fine, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a little bit of anti-heal and steel cast, but like other than that, it's, you know, it's pretty normal.
We have the fire item. Oh, finally turns into Sunfire Cape. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah. Zac has a Sunfire Cape.
It's like riding a bike. You never forget.
You never forget the Sunfire Cape. It's like the one consistent item.
I loved it.
And then, you know, Viego has 2 items, both Bork and or Sundered Sky. Vladimir is on 2 items. Aphelios is on 3. Woo! Because, yeah, having an IDC at 3 items is very safe for the rest of your team. Yikes. And then you've got Rel with Knight's Vow and Zeki's Convergence, so that Aphelios isn't dying. And then, yeah, in the top lane for Bethany Luther, you're looking at a Sunfire Cape. Skarner just got his Heartsteel with 46 extra health. Nice. A Bork on Tristana. It's no shoes yet. Kog'Maw's got 3 items, so that's nice, but it's not a crit ADC, so it's not as important to get 3
12 kills on the Kog'Maw. I just realized that.
Oh yeah, the Kog'Maw's been shredding. Like, Kog'Maw's carrying, but like, you can only carry so much.
Yeah.
He is only human.
He's a little guy trying to do his best in a world of hurt. Thwack in a position to cause some chaos, but recognizing it would only be reflected on him if he went in that circumstance. They don't even have the Olaf here on the Saints side. It's just the 4 of them here, but they're a dangerous core regardless. Amazing as going to initiate on the Flowcon. He's going to go into the puddle. Not going to be too much. They're going to drag Miracle into the towers, but he's still standing strong. Huge turnaround from the Saints. They're absolutely melting them down. They are going not even one by one. They're going all at once. The Saints turn them into a thin paste. As this game, the last man standing is Dog. Name checks out. Game is completely devastated. 1930 is going to be the time to beat for the Saints on their next speedrun attempt. They set the PR, but you know, I know they can shave a couple more seconds off of that. The splits, the laning phase split. Yeah. You know, there's a couple mistakes there, and then the mid game split. But ultimately, game took too long.
Yup.
Fix it.
I mean, that was insane. At the end there, when they were all grouped up, I think Link just had a neuron activation. He saw that he had his flamethrower. He knew he had ult, and he was like, okay, I'm throwing Moonlight Vigil right into that. And you just see massive bursts of damage everywhere. Everybody gets shredded, and that's the thing. When Aphelios has a lot of gold, I mean, it's an Aphelios with a lot of gold. It's going to buy items, and once it has items, your team doesn't exist.
Yeah, and what doesn't exist anymore is this series. Saints taking it 2-0 against Bethany Lutheran College. And I want to say tough fight, strong battle, but realistically, the Saints really did show up here. And especially in that game, too, I think they figured out how they want to play after that first one. They picked something safe. Second game, they just picked a draft that allows them to
win efficiently.
Yeah, I'll put it that. That's a much better way of playing it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap us up here for tonight. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure putting on a show. It wouldn't be fun yelling over video games if no one was here to watch it. So truly, thank you for tuning in.
It's like the whole point of League.
Yeah, basically. And thank you to our team, of course, for putting on a fantastic show. Thank you to everybody in the back for making that show even possible. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you,
Pleasure
me. And thank you, of course, to our sponsors. We're going to have Alienware, Tim Hortons Subway, the St. Clair College SRC, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. Tune in tomorrow as we have more action lined up for you. Always be sure to check our schedule, check our upcoming matches on our social media, Saints Gaming CA on basically everything, every platform you could imagine, even Facebook, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, God.
Crazy, right? In any case, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be having a nice close out for the stream, but hope you have a fantastic night, and I'm still reeling from that match.
I think, bro,
Game 2 took too long.
Game 2, okay, it didn't take too long. Game 1 took too long.
No, both took too long. But, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully our time here didn't take too long with your night. Hope you have a fantastic one. Take care.